Hi and welcome to a video on Yugoslavia from the 1920s. Or well, the first note here is from 1931. From 1931 until the early 1980s. So the later inflation years and hyperinflations will not be covered in this video. I already made one video on that topic and there will probably be more, since my collection is expanded on that front. But here we go. So the earliest banknote that I have is this 50 Dinara, or 50 dinars, with the late Yugoslav king who was assassinated. Was it Peter? Anyway, so you can see that it is written in Cyrillic. And dated 1931. So it's a standard issue 50 Dinara banknote of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. On the other side we can see it is written in Latin, in the Latin alphabet. Narodna banka Kraljevini Jugoslavije Plaza Dinosjosku 50 Dinara. That's my horrible pronunciation. No, I don't know if that is supposed to be Croatian and the Cyrillic Serbian, but I don't really know if they are distinguishing them at this point, since it's mostly dialectal differences and they are completely mutually understandable to each other. So that's the 50 Dinara from 1931 in use until the 1940s with the Second World War. Now, about the Second World War. Now, this is, you can see, is 100. The base for this banknote is the 100 Dinara, but it's a newer print that you can see has been stamped over with the 1st of May 1941 and that correlates with the Axis and German invasion of Yugoslavia. So this is a 100 repurposed Yugoslavian 100 Dinara banknote issued in the German occupied territories of Serbia. Now, there were other occupation zones by the Italians, Bulgarians, and there were also a Croatian puppet state in the middle of the country. But this one was issued in the German occupied territory of Serbia. So, what is Serbia today? Or most of what is Serbia today, this banknote would have been used. And you can see here on the other side we have the Kingdom of Yugoslavia coat of arms, but it has been repurposed. So it's not a printed overall banknote, but instead it's a newly printed banknote, but stamped over straight from the printing press. For use in Axis German occupied Serbia during World War II. Now, both of these are not really intentional purchases, but they have been included in larger loots. Moving on, Second World War, the liberation of Yugoslavia by the partisan forces. They issued their own currency, among them this one in 1944. It's 1 dinara or 1 dinar. You can see it's written in Cyrillic Serbian, in Croatian, and likely a bunch of the other dialects. You can see Hrvatska, Croatia, Macedonia, Slovenia, and I suppose that might be Serbia or something, in Cyrillic. With one handsome partisan. Now, the 1944 series of banknotes all basically carry the same portrait, if I'm correct. But we did the different denominations like 1, 5, 10, 20, 50 and 100. And this is, like you can see, it's rather tiny compared to the other ones. But 1 dinar would usually be a coin. So, yeah. You can already see in 1944 we are already the Demokratska Federativna Yugoslavia, the Democratic Federative Republic, or Republic, I inserted myself, Democratic Federal Yugoslavia, with the coat of arms that would be adopted, also with the date of what is considered the foundation of the new partisan Yugoslavia, the 29th of November 1943. This coat of arms would carry on after the war. So that's 1 dinara, really simply made, but yes, it's made during the war, so it would have to do, but it's the start of a new state. Moving on, we have this. So this was during the war. Now this is the first series of Yugoslav banknotes to appear after war. This is the 1946 series, and this one in particular is 100 dinara. You can see here it's the same coat of arms. And here we are, the Federativna Narodna Republika Yugoslavia. The country would change its name multiple times. You can see all the different languages. These are rather rare. This one is not in a good condition, but the collector's value is still not worthless, despite the damaged banknote. But at the start of Yugoslavia there would be many series of banknotes. Not even 10 years later, a new series of banknotes would be issued. These ones. Here's a 100 dinara from the Narodna Banka Yugoslavia. This one is dated 1st of May 1963, which is the second issue. I wonder if it's yeah, it just says Yugoslavia on that one. This older one that says Federativna Narodna Republika Yugoslavia, and that's the 1955 issue, which is the first issue. But otherwise I believe them to be basically the same, just with a change of name. Really pretty banknote. I thought it would be larger, but I guess due to inflation already at this point, the banknote would be small. If you compare now, Yugoslavia would. We should never say never, but I mean compare the size of an old 100 to a newer 100. But in intermission, there would once again be larger banknotes. But that is for the future. But as we can see, we had the Federativna Narodna Republika, and the new one was the Socialistiska Federativna Republika. And they will change names yet again. Yeah. So that's the new 100. We compare the old and the new one side to side as well. Moving on. I unfortunately do not have many of this series. They are rarer than the newer ones, which are rather common on the collector's market. But we can check out the new ones. In 1965, Yugoslavia changed their currency and redenominated. So they dropped 2 zeros, which means this new 5 Dinara banknotes would equal 500 old Dinara. This one is from 1968, 3 years after the first issue. Now we are doing we can do a lightning round. Now this would be basically the same backside as on all the banknotes. A large number and the name of the republic in all the different languages. So that's 5. Then we have 10. Now this dude is a real dude, which posed for the portrait. He was originally in the 1955-58 issue of the 1000 banknote, but they kept him from for the new 10 Dinara, which would have equaled 1000 old Dinara. So they kept him for the new banknote. This one is dated 1978. I believe I also have some. They're basically the same. Just the number differs. I have a 1968 issue on that one as well. And another 1978 as well. Yeah. Basically the same. Moving on, we also have a 20. This one a ship. 1974 issue. Yeah. So this is all before the new inflation, obviously we had inflation, and that's why they redenominated. But right now things are not overly stable, but perhaps for a couple of years. A 1968 issue. Yeah. So this is a really pretty series of banknotes, in my opinion. Now we're moving towards the new 100 Dinara. This one issued in 1978. Now I believe originally this was the highest denomination issued in this new series. But due to inflation, higher denominations would be issued. And yeah, like I said, it's basically the same reverse sides on all of them. Just that the denomination and color differs between them. And each banknote is a little bit larger than the one before. That's also interesting. The 2050 are the same size. The 10 is a bit smaller though. The smallest of them all is the 5 Dinara banknote. Something like that. But like I said, due to inflations, and these are not pretty issues, but I really haven't prioritized in getting good ones of these. So this will just have to represent 500 Dinara, this one in particular in 1970, which makes it an early issue, perhaps one of the first 500 Dinaras, with a statue of Nikola Tesla, who was, well, Yugoslavia didn't exist at the time, but he was born in what would become Yugoslavia before emigrating to the United States. And moving on, we have the 1000 Dinara. (1981) issue. Now we have reached the early 80s. And here is when things really take a turn. And it doesn't get better with the death of leader Joseph Tito. It would be interesting to compare the size of. Just keep getting larger and larger. What more do we have to show off? I believe that was basically all of the ones up until 1981. And you know what? I remember now. I had the rest of the banknotes is out on a loan at the moment. But I believe that will suffice for now. I will insert a picture of the Tito banknote Well, except I can't answer for her. But that one is based on a real person. But otherwise, there were rarely real people on, or perhaps they were models, but there were not famous people on the Yugoslav banknotes. Like this, a child, or a farmer, or a worker. These would be common themes on... No, I will cheat here. These are rather early 19th Yugoslavia / Serbia issues. But the faces are basically the same. These are the faces, like anonymous people on the banknotes. This would also apply for the late 1980s, with the one exception of Joseph Tito, issued in 1985 or between 1983 and 1985, I believe. Like I said, there is a picture of that one on the screen. Eventually, inflation, not this one in particular, but very similar banknotes, inflation would increase. New banknotes would be printed, and the second dinar after World War II, the first one is the Federation Dinar from 1944 until 1965, and the second is the hard dinar from 1965 until it was replaced in 1989. Still under the communist system. But the third dinar after World War II, now I don't remember the name right offhand, but that was the final unified currency of Yugoslavia before it broke into parts. I have a video on the post-Yugoslav currencies, the currencies that followed after. So I recommend a watch on that one if you want to know what came after all this. Thank you for watching, and I hope you had fun.